it's time to become alive. Because obviously the human me is dead. I don't know, somebody send help to 123 Internet Street. Well, episode 2 is off to a really weird start.
This is DoonTheFox. Signing off.
Oh, I just almost died. Hi everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to my YouTube series. I'm so glad you're back. Thank you for joining us. Today's episode focuses on techniques you can use to build an internet personality. It's pretty useful when you're trying to do entertainment or pretty much anything on the internet when it comes to videos or music or, I don't know, writing stuff. I guess people still do that, right? Right? What? For the purposes of this YouTube series, I'm going to break this out into 3 stages, okay? We're going to start with building a Fursona, move into Fursuit character, and finally, voice acting. Ooh. Before we get into the good stuff though, I'm going to answer some of your questions that you guys had on the internet. The first question that somebody asked me is, what would Shaggy's Fursona be? The answer is simple. Shaggy is Scooby. They're the same person. What's the answer to life, the universe, and everything? I would say 42, but that's way too mainstream. What's a big title movie that you remember from your childhood? And what was your favorite scene? One movie that I really liked when I was a kid was Hercules. Yeah! And one of my favorite scenes in that movie is when he dives into like the Well of Souls and then he comes back out and he's all golden and stuff. And I was like, wow! How did you get that much mac and cheese on you to where you could glow? It was so inspiring. Are paws cute? Yep, if you're starting off with making a YouTube channel, what are some good options for camera equipment, computer equipment that you can use to record, edit, upload, etc. when you work with videos? And that's an awesome question. Thank you for asking. That will be addressed in a future episode on the series, so please stay tuned, but I'm super glad you're interested in that because I definitely will be talking about it later on. How did you become a furry? And that's always a good question. I love that question. So it started off with Sonic the Hedgehog. I loved Tails because he was this tiny little kid fox, but he had an IQ of 300 and he always beat up his enemies because he had technology and he had his brain and he was real fast. So that all inspired me as a kid, and then eventually I got old enough to where I was like, oh yeah, I can do that now. Let's do it. So here we are. How do I come up with a good Fursona? And that's a great and perfect timing question because that's exactly what we're going to answer in this video. Thank you guys so much for submitting those questions. You guys rule. You're amazing and you're silly. And I love you. Before I talk about these techniques for building an internet personality, I just want to tell you, please take everything I say in this video and in fact my whole series with a grain of salt because like I mentioned last episode, this is just everything I've learned personally in 5 years. And I've legit never taken a class or studied or anything. This is literally just trial and error, observation, and seeing what works. If you know tips that I don't know, please share them in the comments below. Let's get a discussion going about this stuff because it's super interesting stuff to talk about, and I want anybody who's interested in starting a series to benefit as much as possible from myself and from people who watch the video. Just wanted to put that disclaimer out there. First thing we're going to talk about is building a character. You are a human and you have a human identity, and now you're going to create an alter ego. So what does that alter ego look like? You know, what are their interests? What is their hair color? How tall are they? Do they live with family? What city do they live in? What do they like? What do they dislike? Do they have any strengths or weaknesses? What's their favorite drink? What's their favorite meal? When you think about all of these questions for this alter ego, it helps to write everything down. Write down this person's name, and here's their date of birth. Here's their hair color, here's their eye color, and just start answering all those questions. There's a ton of resources online. Some of them are even called memes. They're basically questionnaires that you can fill out where you can basically sketch out this profile of this alter ego that you're creating. The more you write, the more you fill out, the easier it will be for you to become that person. If you're an artist and you like to draw, go for it. Totally draw your character and see what happens. I couldn't find the exact quote, but there's a saying that goes something like every legend has its foundation in truth or something like that. One thing that I think is important to building any kind of alternate personality is using some authentic information from yourself. That makes it easier to relate to that character and step into their mind and see through their eyes and just like flip that switch and become that character. I was inspired heavily by characters like the Mad Hatter and Doctor Who and other like stand-up comedians, because what I found was they could act wacky and eccentric and layer in all these jokes. It just seemed like really intelligent and really fast-paced and really energetic, and that was stuff that I loved. So I added that to Doon's personality. At the end of the day, these are all techniques that are just designed to put you into the headspace of your character. So as you're writing all this stuff, answering these questionnaires, drawing this character, imagining scenarios, the point is you might not use every question that you've answered or every detail that you come up with, but that's totally okay. They're just exercises so you can put yourself in their shoes and become that character. So the next thing we're going to talk about is Fursuit character. Wow! Just to establish some context, this is just going to focus on the visual representation of how you portray your character. Even though I'm gearing this more towards fursuit performance, this can be applied to pretty much any performance art you can think of. You're going into this with the idea that, okay, I've created this personality or this persona. Start thinking about how they might carry themselves. Are they super confident? Are they arrogant? Are they loud? Are they wacky? Are they eccentric? Are they quiet or shy or timid? So with those characteristics in mind, think about what their posture looks like. How fast do they walk? How do they walk? Do they like coffee? So are they gonna be like jittery, moving around all the time? Blah, blah, blah. Are they like lethargic? So they might be like, oh. I remember when I started suiting 4 years ago and my first instinct was like, okay, I'm standing here, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like basically just like this ball of fluff, but I'll try this. Oh, okay, that looks cute. And oh wait, what if I nod my head a lot? Yep, that might work. I can do this, I can paw at things. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Practice makes perfect. Watch videos of other people who suit. You're sure to find things that people do that you like that work for your character as well, which is super cool. Other generic tricks that I think look really cute in suit myself are what you do with your hand paws, what you do with your feet paws, and what you do with your tail. When you're standing there, you might wag your tail. If you're really excited, you might bounce up and down on your paws. Somebody knocked on the door. Oh no. If your character is on the timid or shy side, they might be a character who kind of like hunches over and they look submissive, their snot's a little bit down. They might like wring their paws a lot. In general, a timid or shy character might be somebody who tries to take up less space and look smaller. For a character who's more like the cocky or extroverted side, you know, they might use huge motions and they might look excited all the time. They might be trying to take up more space, or they might try to basically put on a show. So after a while, you might not need to think about all of these tips and tricks every time, because eventually you'll just be able to like slip into that character. But when you're starting off, this might be a good way to like get those creative juices flowing and get you into that character. When it comes to performance art, a huge aspect of that truly is visual. So even if I black out this video and I'm just talking, anybody can hear my voice, anybody can hear the inflection and the pitch changes, and they can imagine a face behind it. The fact is, when it comes to video and live performance, people can see me. So think about that. When you're putting on a video or a show of some kind, people can see you too. So you have this awesome opportunity to really sell this character. So the last thing we're going to talk about is voice acting. Wow. The techniques that I use for voice acting really do translate pretty much anywhere else. Even in the 4 years I've been suiting, I can see how my fursuit voice has changed, which is really interesting. This is something that really does require like so much practice, because if you choose to use a voice that is different from your real voice, you have to practice talking in that voice. It's not about endurance, it really is mastering the tonalities and the inflections and the pitch changes and the diction and all that fun stuff. So that's another component, like the visual side, that really can sell your character. So it's something important to think about. A really good place you can start with is any impressions you can do or characters that you find inspiration in. I'm able to do, oh boy, I can't believe I'm actually doing this. One impression that I really like to do is the gingerbread man from Shrek. The gingerbread man is a really crazy, just off-the-wall character. It has a very wacky voice. Do you know the Muffin Man?
Well, she's married to the Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man!
It's not very good. That character is wild and their voice is all over the map. You don't want to focus on just like the sound of the voice, you have to focus on the personality traits behind it too. My character is wild and crazy and super energetic, never sleeps, and basically wants to do somersaults everywhere and cartwheels in the ceiling, so his voice is equally eccentric. Some of the characters that I drew inspiration from were characters that I basically ran into over my whole life. Callie from Liam Kyle Sullivan's channel is super sassy, super crazy, and really out there, and I love her. Oh my god! Medea is a character by Tyler Perry. She's also crazy and wild. I love her. Side note, Sonic the Hedgehog has an amazing number of awesome voice actors and actresses. There were some really awesome unique voices in there. Try to pick one or two foundational emotions that you want your character to reflect, and look for other characters online that reflect those emotions the way that you want them to reflect in your character, and study them. Anything can be inspiration. Seriously, anything at all. People that you run into in the store, or the mall, or Walmart, or any movies that you've seen, books, TV shows, cartoons, literally anything can be inspiring. Even people in your family can inspire you. Anything is possible in the creative process, and that's why it's awesome! I've been talking about how to apply this technique to like creating cartoony voice, but realistically, this works for like any voice you could imagine. Wow! So if you want to create something like more haunting and creepy and gravelly, you know, read creepypastas or watch horror movies or whatever. Do that stuff. As a last step, this is where the magic happens. Huh? When you're creating this personality or this alter ego, pull from as many inspirational resources as possible. Write down a list of all these behaviors and traits and dialogue and looks and whatever that you want to emulate. Just literally make your master list and be like, all right, here's everything I want to emulate. Imagine if all of those things became one person. And then, what do they sound like? It's that easy and hard. You will find things you like and don't like. Over time, your character may change. That's okay. You are that character. Be that character and practice a lot. Remember, there are no mistakes. Those are pretty much my techniques for building an internet personality and a persona, and like literally my process for acting psychotic. If you have any tips or tricks that you would like to share in the comments, please do that. Let's start a discussion. I would love for everyone to benefit from this in some way, whether you are a current YouTuber interested in starting a channel, or you do some kind of other creative art, people, animal, people things. Yeah! Well, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of my series. Wow! Bye!